When I first started making this project, the thing that I felt would be the most difficult would be making the exhaust pipes. As you can see in these two frames, that Harley-Davidson exhausts have some rather radical bends in their typical configuration. But then I found this configuration of exhaust system, which had some very gentle and sweeping bends in it. The difficulty is that how would I be able to bend the tubing without kinking it? Here you see an example of how the tubing can get kinked just with the smallest of bends. But then I found that I had some aluminum rod that fit very nicely inside the stainless steel tubing, which allowed me to bend the tubing without getting any dents or kinks in it. Here you can see the aluminum with a hole drilled in it. I put threads in the hole. Then I put a small stud in there. Then I drilled holes in the engine block and used a little epoxy and glued them right into the block. And then I drilled some holes in the frame, and with little screws I was able to mount the pipes at the back of the bike. Now this is the wooden block that I bent the tubing in. As you can see, I rounded the corners on it so that I could get some smooth bending. It took, I believe, 3 pipes that I had to discard because the bending angles didn't come out just right before I came up with the ones that I actually kept for the bike. And this is the finished product. This little brass object in my hand represents an oil reservoir which mounts under the seat, and the same screw holds the seat in place. I wrapped some masking tape around the backbone of the frame because the slot in the gas tank was loose, and the masking tape worked as a way of holding it on by pressure. So the gas tank is only held on by the pressure of the soft mounting of the tape. Just as I began to put the front forks on the bike, a little helper showed up to give me that extra third hand that I needed to do the job smoothly. The hand grips for the handlebars were stainless steel tubing that I painted with flat black paint, and they are held in place by some brass screws that I polished the end off of. This is the drive belt, which was made out of a piece of floor matting. It is glued to the rear drive sprocket with contact cement, and little nails hold it to a wooden stub underneath that brass cover. Here you can see the brake handles and the clutch handles and the little brass cap. This is how I prepared those screws for the handlebars. This particular application of the screws is made to cover the top of the tubes on the front suspension. So after shaping and polishing, you see this is the finished product. And you can notice that I used little set screws to not only hold those brass screws in place, but they also held the stainless steel tubing and stabilized the front forks.
Tomorrow will never come, so tell that someone that you love is what you're thinking of.